Okay, welcome back. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Pristaya Budale, Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharini Visesanibadi, Paschacharya Satardi, Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namah. The opulence is the impersonal Brahman spread throughout millions and millions of universes. That Brahman is but the bodily effulgence of Govinda. This is spoken by Lord Brahma. Translation of the previous. I worship Govinda, he's my Lord. Only by his grace am I empowered to create the universe. Purport. Although the sun is situated far away from other planets, its rays sustain and maintain them all. Indeed, the sun diffuses its heat and light all over the universe. Similarly, the Supreme Sun, Govinda, diffuses his heat and light everywhere in the form of his different potencies. The sun's heat and light are non-different from the sun. In the same way, the unlimited potencies of Govinda are non-different from Govinda himself. Therefore, the all-pervasive Brahman is the all-pervasive Govinda. The Bhagavad Gita 14:27 clearly mentions that the impersonal Brahman is dependent upon Govinda. That is the real conception of absolute knowledge. Next. Naked saints and sannyasis who undergo severe physical penances, who can rise their semen to the brain, and who are completely equipoised in Brahman, can live in the realm known as Brahmaloka. Purport. In this verse from Bhagavatam 11.6.47, Vata Vasana refers to mendicants who do not care about anything material, including clothing, but who depend wholly on nature. Such sages do not cover their bodies even in severe winter or scorching sunshine. They take great pains not to avoid any kind of bodily suffering, and they live by begging door to door. They never discharge their semen, either knowingly or unknowingly. By such celibacy, they are able to raise the semen to the brain. Thus, they became most intelligent and develop very sharp memories. Their minds are never disturbed or diverted from contemplation on the absolute truth, nor are they ever contaminated by desire for material enjoyment. By practicing austerities under strict discipline, such mendicants attain a neutral state transcendental to the modes of nature and merge into the impersonal Brahman. He who is described in the Yoga Shastras as the indwelling supersoul, Atma Antaryami, is also a plenary portion of Govinda's personal expansion. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is by nature joyful. His enjoyments, our pastimes, are completely transcendental. He is in the fourth dimension of existence, for although the material world is measured by the limitations of length, breadth, and height, the Supreme Lord is completely unlimited in his body, form, and existence. He is not personally attached to any of the affairs within the material cosmos. The material world is created by the expansion of his Purusha avatars, who direct the aggregate material energy in all the conditioned souls. By understanding the three expansions of the Purusha, the living entity can transcend the position of knowing only the 24 elements of the material world. One of the expansions of Mahavishnu is Chirodakashayi Vishnu, the supersoul within every living entity. As the supersoul of the total aggregate of living entities, or the second Purusha, he is known as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. As the creator of the original cause of innumerable universes, or the first Purusha who is lying on the causal ocean, he's called Mahavishnu. The three Purushas direct the affairs of the material world. The authorized scriptures direct the individual souls to revive their relationship with the Supersoul. Indeed, the system of yoga is a process of transcending the influence of the material elements by establishing a connection with the Purusha known as Paramatma. One who has thoroughly studied the intricacies of creation can very easily know that this Paramatma is the plenary portion of the Supreme Being, Sri Krishna. As the one sun appears reflected in countless jewels, so Govinda manifests himself as Paramatma in the hearts of all living beings. Purport. The sun is situated in a specific location, but is reflected in countless jewels and appears in innumerable localized aspects. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although eternally present in his transcendental abode, Goloka Vrindavan, is reflected in everyone's heart as the Super Soul. In the Upanishads it is said that the Jiva, living entity, and the Paramatma, Super Soul, are like two birds sitting in the same tree. The Super Soul engages in the living being in executing fruitive work as a result of his deeds in the past, but the Paramatma has nothing to do with such engagements. As soon as the living being ceases to act in terms of fruitive work and takes to the service of the Lord, the Paramatma, coming to know of his supremacy, he is immediately freed from all designations. And in that pure state, he enters the kingdom of God known as Vaikuntha. The Paramatma, or Super Soul, the guide of the individual living beings, does not take part in fulfilling the desires of the living entities, but he arranges for their fulfillment by material nature. As soon as an individual soul becomes conscious of its eternal relationship with the Super Soul and looks only toward him, he at once becomes free from the entanglements of material enjoyment. Christian philosophers who do not believe in the law of karma put forward the argument that it is absurd to say one must accept the results of his past deeds, of which he has no consciousness. A criminal is first reminded of his misdeeds by witnesses in a law court, and then he is punished. If death is complete forgetfulness, why should a person be punished for his past misdeeds? The conception of the Paramatma is an invincible answer to these fallacious arguments. Good words, huh? The conception of the Paramatma is an invincible answer to these fallacious arguments. Invincible means it can't be defeated. Indestructible, like Superman. The Paramatma is the witness of the past activities of the individual living being. A man may not remember what he has done in his childhood, but his father, who has seen him grow through different stages of development, remembers. Similarly, the living being undergoes many changes of body through many lives, but the Super Soul is always with him and remembers all his activities despite his evolution through different bodies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, said, "What more shall I say to you? I live throughout this cosmic manifestation merely by my single plenary portion." Purport. Describing his own potencies to Arjuna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead spoke this verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 10:42. Grandfather Bhishma said, "As the one sun appears differently situated to different seers, so also do you, the unborn, appear differently representative as the Paramatma in every living being. But when a seer knows himself to be one of your servitors, he no longer does he maintain such duality. Thus I am now able to comprehend your eternal forms, knowing well the Paramatma to be only your plenary portion. Purport. This verse from the Bhagavatam was spoken by Bhishmadev, the grandfather of the Kurus, when he was lying on a bed of arrows at the last stage of his life. Arjuna, Krishna, and numberless friends, admirers, relatives, and sages had gathered on the scene as Maharaj Yudhisthira took moral and religious instructions from the dying Bhishma. Just as the final moment arrived for him, Bhishma spoke this verse while looking at Lord Krishna. Just as one sun is the object of the vision of many different persons, so the one partial representative of Lord Krishna who lives in the heart of every living entity as the Paramatma is a variously perceived object. One who comes intimately in touch with Lord Krishna by engaging in his eternal service sees the Supersoul as a localized partial representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhishma knew the Supersoul to be a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna, whom he understood to be supreme, unborn, transcendental form. That Govinda personally appears as Chaitanya Gosai, Gosani. No other Lord is as merciful in delivering the fallen souls. Purport. Having described Govinda in terms of his Brahman and Paramatma features, now the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita advances his argument to prove that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the identical personality. The same Lord Sri Krishna, in the garb of a devotee of Sri Krishna, descended in this mortal world to reclaim the fallen human beings who had misunderstood the personality of Godhead, even after the explanation of the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, directly instructed that the Supreme is a person, that the impersonal Brahman is his glowing effulgence, and that the Paramatma is his partial representation. All men were therefore advised to follow the path of Sri Krishna, leaving aside all mundane isms. Offenders misunderstood this instruction, however, because of their poor fund of knowledge. Thus, by his causeless, unlimited mercy, Krishna came again as Sri Chaitanya Goswami. The author of Chaitanya Charitamrita most emphatically stresses that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna himself. He is not an expansion, the Prakash or Vilas forms of the Lord. He is the Swayamrupa, Govinda. Apart from the relevant scriptural evidence forwarded by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, there are innumerable other scriptural statements regarding Lord Chaitanya being the Supreme Lord. Following examples are cited. From the Chaitanya Upanishad, Gora Sarvatma Mana. Lord Gora, who is the all-pervading Supersoul, Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears as a great saint and powerful mystic who is above the three modes of nature and is the emblem of transcendental activity. He disseminates the cult of devotion throughout the world. From the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it says, O Supreme Lord, you are the Supreme Maheshwar, the worshipful deity of all the demigods and the Supreme Lord of all lords. You are the controller of the controllers, personality of Godhead, the Lord of everything, worshipable. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Mahaprabhu, who disseminates transcendental enlightenment. Just to be in touch with him is to be in contact with the indestructible Brahma Jyoti. From the Mandaka Upanishad, one who sees the golden-colored personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Actor, who is the source of the Supreme Brahman, is liberated. From Srimad Bhagavatam, 11.5.33 and 34 and 7.9.38. We offer our obeisance on lotus feet of Him, the Lord, upon whom one should always meditate. He destroys insults to his devotees. He removes the distresses of his devotees and satisfies their desires. He, the abode of all holy places and the shelter of all sages, is worshipable by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. He is the boat of the demigods for crossing the ocean of birth and death. We offer our respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of the Lord, upon whom one should always meditate. He left his householder life, leaving aside his eternal consort, whom even the denizens of heaven adore. He went to the forest to deliver the fallen souls who are put into illusion by material energy. Prahlad said, "You kill all your enemies of the world by your multifarious incarnations, in the families of men, animals, demigods, rishis, aquatics, and so on. Thus you illuminate the worlds with transcendental knowledge. In the age of Kali, O Mahapurusha, you sometimes appear in a covered incarnation. Therefore you are known as Tri-Yuga, one who appears in only 3 yugas." From Krishna Yamala Tantra, I shall appear in the holy land of Navadvip as the son of Sachi Devi. From the Vayu Purana, in this age of Kali, when the Sankirtan movement is inaugurated, I shall descend as the son of Sachi. From the Brahma Yamala Tantra, sometimes I personally appear on the surface of the world in the garb of a devotee. Similarly, I appear as the son of Sachi in Kali Yuga to start the Sankirtan movement. And from Ananta Samhita, Supreme Person, the Sri Krishna himself, who is the life of Sri Radharani and is the Lord of the universe in creation, maintenance and annihilation, appears as Gora, O Sri Maheshwara. Okay, we'll stop again. Time for medicine and all that. Thank you.